Hi, I'm Lizzie and this is Laura. We are currently sailing on board Cunard's Queen Anne on a 7-day itinerary. Today we are in the port of Lisbon.
This is day 4 of our 7-night cruise, so if you don't want to miss anything that we get up to on board Queen Anne or any of our future cruises, make sure you're subscribed to our channel.
This morning we once again headed up to the Artisans Food Hall for breakfast. We thought we were being really clever that we decided to divide and conquer. So Laura went to get some sausage bats from that station and I went to get some hash browns and mushrooms from the other station. This meant it was far easier for us to coordinate and we were soon sat down enjoying our breakfast.
After we'd finished our breakfast, we got straight off the ship and headed into Lisbon. As we got off the ship and passed through the cruise terminal, there were some hop-on hop-off buses and various bits of tourist information available in the terminal building. And then as we exited the building, we could see a lot of Tuk Tuk drivers around offering to take people on tours of the city. We were tempted by a Tuk Tuk tour, but we decided to head a bit further into the city first before we made our decision.
We continued to walk along the streets of Lisbon towards the main square. We have all been to Lisbon on numerous occasions, so it's somewhere we're quite familiar with. As we were getting closer to the main square, we could see an increase in the amount of tuk-tuks again. We had by now decided, yes, this is what we wanted to do, and then we came across one that we particularly liked the look of, so approached her.
We were initially offered the price of €100 for an hour tuk-tuk ride. We turned to discuss this, and then she reduced that price to €90. We did take her up on this offer and decided to use this tuk-tuk. It does seem as though most of the tuk-tuks are similarly priced, so I don't think you will get a massive saving by shopping around and choosing different ones. We just wanted to make sure that we got a guide that seemed like they knew what they were doing.
Again, like Vigo, Lisbon is quite a hilly city, so she took us up straight away to a viewpoint. We have actually walked up to a very similar place to this viewpoint before, and you get some great views of the city. However, this wasn't the highest place that she took us.
We kept climbing the streets of Lisbon in the little electric tuk-tuk, and we got up to an even higher point, which was by the Grace Church. There were 2 separate viewpoints up there which offered amazing views across the city. We were able to spot all of the main sites in Lisbon from there, and we could see Queen Anne in the distance.
We also had the time to go into a church. Our guide, Ariel, was quite adamant that we didn't need to ever rush anywhere, and she didn't care that if we went over the hour. So we went into the church while we were up there, and it was beautiful inside.
Ariel also took us into a very small sort of rooftop bar up there. We assumed she was taking us in there to see if we would purchase anything. There was some souvenirs and things like that on show in there too, but we were also able to use the toilet, which was great at this part of the journey. If it'd probably been a little bit later in the day, this could have been the sort of place that we might have stopped for a drink. It was a really quirky little location and it was a very interesting stop.
Ariel was very informative as we drove around the streets of Lisbon. It can be quite hairy at times with taxis etc bibbing you because they're not happy about the speed that it's going, and we saw some quite near misses when bigger vehicles are trying to go around very tight corners. She asked us where we wanted to be dropped, and we asked her to drop us by the time out food hall, which she obliged with. We also didn't have any euros on us. We only had a card, which she didn't take, but she was quite happy to drop us at a cash point. She pointed out lots and lots of different key points of Lisbon, such as the vernacular. She showed us where there was one that was free and the one where you had to pay, and was quite keen to show us the route of tram 28, which is the historic route. We found out that quite often there are big massive queues that can take hours to get onto that tram, so we think the tuk-tuk was a really good way of getting to those exact same places.
Overall, the tour did take a bit longer than the hour stated. It was actually closer to 90 minutes, I would say.
We had a wander around the time out market, however it was just really busy in there, so there wasn't anywhere to sit and enjoy a drink or some food. We then started to walk around the streets of Lisbon, and we found ourselves a nice little cafe to sit at where we had a drink, and I had a little chicken empanada and Laura had a brownie.
Both of these little snacks were nice, they were served warm, and we just had a really nice time sitting in this square. It was sunny and we're really taking the time to enjoy the weather. Then we decided to head back to the ship, and we walked back down towards the front of the river and decided to walk along that way, so a completely different route to how we went into Lisbon. It's not a difficult walk at all if you do that way. It's very flat and you do get to look out at the river.
We got on the ship at around 2:30 and we were just walking, and we noticed that there were lots of seats in the Queen's room ready, set up for afternoon tea. We want to try this despite our lack of liking tea. We thought it was a great opportunity while people were off the ship in Lisbon.
Having never experienced a Cunard cruise before, this was all pretty new to us and we had no idea what to expect. We noticed the band were there playing, and there was a big procession into the afternoon tea from all the waiting staff, which we really loved. We thought it was very traditional and a great way to start.
We were in a section which seemed to be the last section to be served everything, so you were watching everyone else get served while you were waiting. I think the waiters thought that I was slightly mad, keep on saying no to tea. However, Tom and Dom enjoyed their tea, and we soon had a glass of Prosecco to help accompany it. Laura's not a massive fan of the fillings that you get in sandwiches at afternoon tea, so I had the sandwiches and then Laura had the cakes. I had a curried shrimp it was called, which I really enjoyed, a trout sandwich, and then a beef and horseradish sandwich. All of them were delicious and I wouldn't hesitate in ordering any of them again.
I then had some of the cake offerings. One of them was a choux bun that the waitress wasn't actually sure what the filling was, so I chanced it and gave it a try, and it was really nice. The other one was a sort of chocolate type of dessert, and I also had a fruit scone, which I had jam and cream on. All of the little cakes were really nice and tasty, and it was definitely an experience that I really enjoyed.
We took an opportunity then to have a bit of a relax before heading up to the Panorama Pool Club for Sailaway. We really enjoyed listening to the singers while again making the most of the nice weather. We decided to move for the actual bit of the Sailaway when you go under the April the 25th bridge. We really enjoyed that experience sailing out of Lisbon because of the noise that it makes. Once again, we were treated to a spectacular sunset, and we made the most of Queen Anne's open decks to experience all of these things.
By now, we needed to head back to the cabin to get ready because we didn't want to be too late to dinner, and we planned this evening to try out using the virtual queue. This was the first night on board that we didn't have a reservation for anywhere, so we were interested to see how that worked. Dom joined the queue for 4 of us at about 6:45, and by 7:15, we had an alert to say the table was ready for us to head down to the dining room.
However, at this point, we were actually waiting for our cocktails to arrive in the chart room. We hadn't had a drink in the chart room yet, and we were excited to try the Zodiac cocktails. I'll admit I wimped out of my actual one because I wouldn't like it. So I chose the one that was for Libra, but Laura was brave and went for her Gemini.
I didn't like mine though, but I did give it a go. You do get 15 minutes once you confirm your booking to get to the dining room, so we headed down there. We were seated in the same section that we were in on Monday, which meant that we had the same waiter as we did that evening, which we were quite pleased about.
Today, both of us chose the same starter, our fish cakes, which I really enjoyed. It was nice to have something a little bit different. Laura wasn't a fan of the little roe tart thing you got with it. And then I had a Caesar salad.
I had the chicken consomme for my soup, which again was okay. It was nothing special, but nothing to sort of complain about either. I had the fish again for my main tonight. This was served with what was described as grilled potatoes. I didn't know what to expect, but they were really nice. They were just sort of thinly sliced potatoes that were quite tasty.
And I had a duck for my main. I really enjoyed it. The duck was cooked very nicely. The portion sizes, however, are sometimes a bit on the small side. For my dessert, I was really excited to see that there were some different flavours of ice cream that I actually like. So I chose a honeycomb surprise. I'm not 100% convinced of what the surprise was. I think there may have been a little bit of chocolate in there.
And I chose the chocolate dessert, which I really enjoyed. The texture was great, and you'll have heard me moan about gelatine in desserts like this in the past, and there was no gelatine type texture in there. It was really, really good. The service tonight was a lot faster in the dining room, and we think it's probably because we were in there a little bit earlier than 8 o'clock. The waiter again was great, and he made some conversation with us, and we enjoyed having him.
We were delighted that the dinner service was quicker tonight, because we were really keen to see the production that was on in the Queen's Room. The showcast were putting on a production called Made in London, and we were very eager to see this. We all really, really enjoyed this show. As the title suggested, it was all about singers from London, even though Laura thought at one point we might get a bit of Bewitched because they came out in double denim. Obviously, they're not from London. The singers and the dancers are all very talented, and we all really enjoyed it, and we can't wait to see the showcast perform again.
We are on a bit of a mission today to try some of the bars that we haven't been in before. So we headed up to the 1840 bar, which is the casino bar. We want to try some of the special cocktails on the menu, and we were a bit disappointed by the choices on offer in here.
I enjoyed the cocktail I had in there. I can't remember what it was called, but it was pineapple and ginger, which a lot of the cocktails seem to have in them on board this ship.
The main cocktails on offer in this bar seem to be Negronis. There were lots of different ones, and there is a bit of a suggestion in the menu that you ask your waitress or waiter for a dice and roll the dice and choose the number that it landed on. We encouraged Tom to try one of these Negronis, and we all had a little bit of a try of it, and none of us enjoyed it at all. We didn't think it was very tasty. So I think that we all decided it just wasn't our type of drink.
We then decided to have a go on the slot machines. It's something we haven't done on a cruise ship for a while, and we set ourselves a very sensible limit. Laura spent her money quite rapidly, whereas I did have a little bit of a win. So my money lasted a bit longer, but it did all get spent still.
We then wanted to continue with trying some of the bars we hadn't had time to sit in properly yet, and headed to the Golden Lion, where the Irish band were playing. We really enjoyed the music. It was absolutely packed in there, and we sort of probably had the worst seats in the house. Lizzie had a pillar straight in front of her, but it didn't take away from the atmosphere, and we did enjoy that performance. It was quite hot in there though, and it was a little bit uncomfortable, but it was just probably because of the sheer volume of people inside the venue. We stayed in the Golden Lion until closing, and then headed up to the buffet, where we just had a hot dog each. Actually really enjoyed the hot dog. Thought it was a nice option to have, and it wasn't too heavy to eat before going to bed.
Again, we have really enjoyed our day. We love the city of Lisbon and love visiting there. Also, we've enjoyed experienced what the ship has had to offer us today, and we are looking forward to a relaxing sea day tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like and drop any questions you've got in the comments down below. Please do also make sure that you're subscribed to our channel. You can also find us on social media by searching Sisters on the Seas.